Hello students, welcome to today's class. Our topic for today is basic computer operation. Of today's class, students are expected to know the definition of computer operation, describe the booting processes or the booting process, list the type of booting, know how to start up a computer, identify the components of the Windows desktop, then also know the steps on how to shut down a computer. Now let's start with the objective, the first objective for today, which is define computer operation. What is computer operation? Basically, computer operation talk about the operations that is performed on a computer, like starting up a computer, opening an application, shutting down the computer, and other tasks. So basically, the definition of is computer operation describes the way a computer works. That is from the moment the computer is powered on until the time it is made ready for the user to work with. And the stages involved are actually three stages involved for computer operation, because first of all you have to switch on the computer. That is the first stage, is when the computer is powered on. Then secondly, when you press the power button, you switch on the computer. The next stage is that the computer boots up, which is known as the booting process. The booting process is the process whereby the computer checks all the components to see if they are aligned and they are in place before it displays the final page, which is known as the desktop, which is the last stage display of the Windows desktop environment. Now, next we'll look at the definition of booting. What is booting? Booting is defined as the process of starting the computer. So when you press the power button, the computer actually loads the operating system, which then initializes the other components like the RAM. So basically what it does at that stage, it is check if the RAM is seated in the proper, slotted well. If the other components are seated well, then before it will display the final page, which is the desktop. We can also define booting as the initial set of operations that the computer performs when the power is switched on. So like I said, it is when you switch on the computer, that is when it has peaked, then it will load the operating system, and at that stage you cannot do anything. All you just do is to wait for it to finish loading. So at that stage it is called booting. Then let's look at the types of booting. The type of booting we have: number one, there are actually two types of booting, which is first one is cold booting, second one is warm booting. Now, what is cold booting? Cold booting, this is the process of starting the computer after it has been switched off by pressing the power button. So basically, cold booting is when you start up the computer when it has not been switched off. What I mean is, let's say you just pick up your system for the first time. Maybe you wake up in the morning and you just pick it up and switch it on. So at that stage, it is not working yet. So at that stage, it is cold booting. While warm booting is the process of restarting the computer without switching it off. Now, basically, what means that, okay, just like now that I'm teaching you now, you're in this class with my computer. So at any point I restart this computer, that process is called warm booting. So at that stage, the system is working, your CPU is working, every component of the system is working. Then let's assume maybe the system becomes slow. I can decide to restart it. So at that stage of restarting it is called warm booting. Now let's know that when the system automatically restarts itself while it is running, it could lead to damage or loss of some files. So it is advised that to save your file, try to save the file before you restart your computer. This could be due to operations such as crash, power fluctuation, system freeze, memory conflict, and etc. So this could be reason for why you want to carry out a warm booting. Next, we'll look at the difference between cold booting and warm booting. Cold booting is also known as hard booting. Warm booting is also known as soft booting. In cold booting, the use of power switch is involved. It means you need to use the power button to switch on the computer. That is cold booting. For warm booting, it involves shortcut keys, e.g. Control Alt plus Delete. So basically, the system needs to be on. So you just do some manipulation of keys in order to carry it out. Either you shut it down using the shortcut keys, or it will start on its own. Secondly, for cold booting, it is done when the system is already off. Just like I said, the system is off. So all you do is press down the power button and it comes off, and that is cold booting. While for warm booting, it is done when the system is on. Like I said earlier, you're working on the system already or on the laptop, and all of a sudden maybe there's a crash, the system has to restart, or maybe the system is getting slow, you just have to restart it all over. Lastly, CPU stops working. At that point, like for cold booting, the CPU is actually not working. Why? Because it's actually off, the system has not been on. Why? CPU undergoes a reset but does not lose power. So the CPU is actually in progress, maybe executing one or two commands, then all of a sudden you just have to restart it. So that's what it means by reset. The CPU undergoes a reset but does not lose power. Next, we'll look at starting up a computer, which is another computer operation. How do you start up a computer? You've just bought a computer, you want to start it up. Now, mind you, they have different type of computer. We have the desktop computer and the laptop computer, but the explanation for this is for a desktop computer. For a laptop computer, all you just need to do is to open the lid and press the power button and it comes up. But for a desktop computer, where the parts are separate, where the mouse is separate, the system unit is separate, you have to follow this step. So first of all, you have to connect it to a power supply actually. So you connect the system to a power supply and switch it on. Then secondly, you press the on button on the system unit, because the desktop computer actually has a system unit separate, so you need to press the on button, then switch on the monitor by also pressing the power button on the monitor, then followed by the printer if there's a printer available, or other external devices that you need to carry out your work. So after switching on the system unit and the monitor, now once this is done, an image appears on the screen and the booting process automatically starts. So that means when you press the power button, you on the system unit and the monitor. What appears on your screen is actually an image that shows the booting process automatically. An image will appear showing the booting process, and at that stage, like I said, you cannot do anything. You wait for it to either flag an error, or it will proceed to load the operating system and everything. On the default steps is that on the boot up, the computer will beam once or twice and start its self-check. Now, depend if there's a problem on the system. If there's a problem on the system, it will make some beam sound to let you know that okay, the system is not okay. Maybe some of the components, either the RAM is not seated well, or the hard drive is not seated well, things like that. So you just have to take note of the beam sound. Like I said, it happens mostly for laptop, desktop computers. So basically, it's the ones on the boot up, it does what is called self-check. Just like I said, checks all the peripherals that are inside the system unit to see if they are seated and they are present. Now everything working well, everything seated well, then it proceeds to the next step, which is on complete loading. The space to enter the username or password appears on the screen. So basically, most systems have password on the computer. So basically, if your system is password, or the space for password will appear, else it will just open up to the desktop application. So entering the correct password enables the user to log in and access or open any program needed to work with it. Now, this is a test for your knowledge based on what we've said so far. Now it's time to test your knowledge based on what we've said so far. I have a question that we should all try to attempt and see if we can get it right. And the question goes as thus. The first page that appears anytime the computer finishes booting is A. BIOS, B. MS Word, C. CPU, D. Desktop. So please try to go through it and try to see if you can answer it correctly. Next, we have the components of the Windows desktop. Now, what are the components of the Windows desktop? That is, what are the things you can find on a normal Windows desktop? The main components of Windows that appear on the screen after the booting are: 1, we have the icons; 2, we have the taskbar; 3, we have the desktop; 4, we have the mouse pointer; and 5, we have the system tree. Note that in our next slide and subsequent slides, I'll be showing you images on all of these Windows components, and hopefully with some images for better and clearer understanding. So this is our desktop, and like I said, we have what is called icon. This is our icons. They are just like an image that shows the application installed on a computer. Next, we have the taskbar, which has different application. It's actually located at the bottom of the desktop. This is where any application you want to run is actually displayed, or any application that's open is actually displayed on the taskbar. Then we have the desktop, which is the environment where your work is being carried out, which is also known as the background. Then we also have the system tree, which is just like a notification center for the taskbar. Then we have the start or the Windows menu, which is located at the left hand side. It's actually the first icon of the taskbar. Now let's talk about icon. I will explain it more in the next slide. Now, icon, what is an icon? What are icons? These are small pictures or symbols that represent programs, application, files, or device available on the computer. Basically, just like we saw in the previous slide, those images that represent an application that is installed on the computer are called icons. They actually tell you the kind of application that is installed. Now, when you click it or when you double click it, user can access the program or the file or the device icon that it represents. Now, some of the icons that are displayed on the computer screen are basically the folders, my computer, recycle bin, and the likes of them. Now, for example, now these are the icons we have on the desktop. Each of these icons represent an application. Here we have the recycle bin, we have Google Chrome, we have the VLC player. All these are basically the icon we use to represent the application. Next, we talk about the taskbar. What is the taskbar? The taskbar is usually found at the bottom of the desktop screen and contains the start menu. Icons that serve as shortcuts to programs and icons representing applications that are currently active or in use. Just like I said, they have other application under it, and any application that you open is actually located at the taskbar. Now this is a taskbar, this is the location. Basically everything under here at the taskbar, where you have the start, the folder, the Chrome, they actually use the icon to represent, just like I said, each program on the system. Then we talk about desktop. What is desktop? This is the environment or user interface by which the user can access all the resources available on the computer. It can be plain or have wallpaper picture on which the icons and menu are displayed. So basically, the environment, just like I said, is just this empty space where everything is displayed, all your icons, all the taskbar and everything is displayed. Basically, this is the desktop. It's just an empty page, and like what I have here is a wallpaper on the desktop. Then we talk about the system tray. Now, what is the system tray? The system tray is a notification area on the operating system taskbar. That's where notifications are displayed, and other tasks are also carried out. Like you need the dates, if you need your calendar, you need your Bluetooth, and other basic tasks are also there. So like I said, basically it's actually located at the right hand side of the taskbar. It is after the taskbar. Now, to test your knowledge based on what you've said so far, let's see this question and see how we can answer it. Which of these is a component of taskbar in Windows? System tray, mouse pointer, desktop, startup menu. We'll try to attempt this question and see the right answer. Now, let's look at how to run an application program. When you talk about application program, you're talking about the application on your system. How do we run the programs on your application? Let's say you want to open Microsoft Word, you want to open VLC Player, you want to open Recycle Bin. So how do you carry it out? So first of all, you click the start button. Then when the start button appears, you click on all apps. Then when all the apps appear, or all the application, then you navigate through. That is, you use your mouse to scroll through all the categories or set menu until you find the program you want to start. Then you can click on the program. Now note that if the icon of the application is on the desktop, you can just double click on it and it will start up. In the next slide, I'll show you an image on how to carry out the task. So just like I said, you click on the start menu, and the start menu is located down here. After clicking the start menu, you go to you locate all application, which is located here. Then you click on it, it will take you to a page where all the application installed on your system is located. Then these are all the application. Then you scroll through the list of application till you locate the one you want to open. Then you click it and it will start up. Now let's look at how to shut down Windows or shut down your system. There are many methods of shutting down Windows. The first method we'll look at is, first of all, you need to save your work. Any work you're working on, you need to save it, else you lose it after closing the system. First of all, save all applications and close them. When you save them, then you can close all the application. Secondly, click on Windows menu or the start menu. Then click on power. Then you click on shutdown. So basically, this is the first method of shutting down your Windows. Now the second method, you save, just as important as it is, you save your document or application and close all running application. Press Alt and F4 simultaneously. That is, you press alternative key and the F4 key simultaneously. At the same next slide, I'll show you an image on how to carry out the task. So just like I said, you click on the start menu, and the start menu is located down here. After clicking the start menu, you go to you locate all application, which is located here. Then you click on it, it will take you to a page where all the application installed on your system is located. Then these are all the application. Then you scroll through the list of application till you locate the one you want to open. Then you click it and it will start up. Now let's look at how to shut down Windows or shut down your system. There are many methods of shutting down Windows. The first method we'll look at is, first of all, you need to save your work. Any work you're working on, you need to save it, else you will lose it after closing the system. First of all, save all applications and close them. When you save them, then you can close all the application. Secondly, click on Windows menu or the Start menu. Then click on Power. Then you click on Shutdown. So basically, this is the first method of shutting down your Windows. Now the second method, you save, just as important as it is, you save your document or application and close all running application. Press Alt and F4 simultaneously. That is, you press alternative key and the F4 key simultaneously at the same time. Then you click on Shutdown, and basically that is how you will shut down your Windows. Now this is a guide on how to do it. So just like I said, you click on the Start menu, which is located here. Then you click on the Power menu, which is located here. Then you click on Shutdown. And that is it. You're good to go. Your system will start shutting down. And like I said, the second method is you just control alternative plus F4 keys simultaneously and you click on Shutdown. Now let's test your knowledge based on what we've said so far. What happens when you press the Alt, alternative and F4 keys? A to shut down, 2 to open application, C to open the taskbar, D to create an icon. So let me know your answer and let's see for correct. Now this is an assignment. I would actually love us to go through it and try to see how we could answer it on our own. First of all, define computer operation. Explain the meaning of booting. How do we start up a computer? Then the last one, describe some components of the Windows desktop. So let's try to see how we can answer this question without looking at our notes. In my next class, we'll talk about word processing. I hope you find this video very useful. You can share it with families and friends. To get notification on my next video and other videos, remember to hit the subscribe, share and like button. See you in my next class.